All right, you guys. This is Quan Michael, and this is the SVG Mountain Podcast brought to you by Neo Life, Neo Fit, and Neo Golf. Here we have conversations, or unfamiliar conversations, or almost familiar conversations with unfamiliar faces. We're gonna get it right eventually. Here I'm with my good buddy, Michael Kozlowski. He is someone that I've watched grow up from being that annoying little brother on the couch wanting you to play video games when you're trying to holler at the girls to a top tier athlete, a young adult, just trying to figure it out. So with that being said, I'm gonna hit you with a first question. But before we do that, I want you to tell the world who you are and what got you to the point where we are now.
Yeah, man. So born and raised here in D'Iberville, graduated and went through school, meeting great people. Graduated in high school in 19, and it's been a crazy ride since then. Obviously, COVID happened the next year.
Yeah.
Went a lot of different places. I feel like first year was in Texas, came back, then went to Macomb, Mississippi, and then Hattiesburg, and then switched to another school, but still in the Hattiesburg area, and then just finished up in May and just moving back home. And it's crazy when you're gone for 5 or 6 years and you only come back for holidays and you don't get the Walmart interactions with the community or the gas station interactions where it's nice being back home and seeing familiar faces everywhere you go, and just gives you that sense of family here.
There we go. And that is a sense of family in the sense of being here at the location where, like, D'Iberville have always had that mom and pops kind of feel, but now with the growth from just a standpoint of just geography, a geographical standpoint, like all the growth that this town has garnered, you starting to see like different styles of people coming in. I mean, from me, my era, and I'm gonna say my era, quotations, is that we were a 4A school. And by the time you graduated, it was what, 6A?
6A, the next year was 7A.
6A, 7A. That's mean. That's not talent based, that's population.
People wise. I mean, it got to the point. Yeah, I tell people, like my brother, and I tell them, in high school, it's like you're walking through the hallways and I don't know everybody's name. But you know their face. And so when you're walking down the hallway, just, oh, what's up, man? Or how you doing? But yeah, it was crazy because in middle school, everybody knows everybody.
Everybody knows everybody.
And then, even in high school, Northland Market. And now they even got 3 schools. Now it's Creekman, Northland Market, and D'Iberville all coming in high school together now. But yeah, even when I was there, and we always say that D'Iberville kids culture the Northland Market kids once we get up into high school. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's wild up there. And like I said, now it got to the point where you don't know everybody in the school like you did.
One thing I know is like it's one thing with population, like where they're coming from. It's like we ain't gonna say it was a racial thing or nothing like that, but it was definitely a difference where like D'Iberville got a lot of chocolate.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder how that's gonna be. But to pivot off of that, and you said family earlier, how was it to be the baby in a household where it was a lot of some attractive people in that house and it's some talented people in that house? Yeah. Now, how was it growing up in a household of that nature?
I feel like even in the family, there was no one really said anything, but there's a standard. Yeah. And you don't want to do anything to mess up the last name, and that's for everybody. I feel like not just my family. I feel like when you're born and you start getting older and being the younger one, you see some siblings have some success. Yeah. And you're like, man, that's pretty cool. And so you want to live up to that bar. And as a sibling, we'll never admit it, but you always want to, if you see one sibling do something, it's, what can I do better? Yeah, I'm going to top it. I want to top it. But no, I think growing up as the baby of the bunch, it was, obviously I don't have any other perspective on it, but it was, I wouldn't want it any other way. Because I've seen things from brother miss taking out the trash and dad gets on them pretty hard, and you just, let me not forget to take out the trash, to just learning and being more mature than people my age, I feel like has really helped growing up with 4 older siblings, one being 11 years older. So it's substantially like another mom figure looking as Christine was to me. But yeah, man, I think growing up with them, it was great. You got to learn a lot. You got to see a lot for sure. And you just kind of learn from what they did, and you can see how they all went through different lives, different processes in their life, different lanes.
And processes. It was a lot of damn processes. So like Michael was being humble here. So like you got Christine that's been in multiple movies and was also
Miss Mississippi in 2008 and competed in Miss America and won swimsuit in Miss America.
And then you got Kaz, who just an indie, has like uber talented, but it's a matter of like honing in, but still
he can do so much.
He can do so much and could be an indie rock star just about, and like just wake up and just want to do something and then lock in and be like, man, when the hell, like when did that come about?
I see so obviously he's loved sports, always been in sports. But in 9th grade, he has a mispectoral muscle, and he kind of had I feel like for me growing up, that's when because I stopped playing football.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's when he really turned. But Brian, man, he can do, I've looked up to him my whole life. I'm a big bro, when big brothers are like, they up there with dad, you put them on a high pedestal, they can never do nothing wrong. And you look up to them, and man, he can do so much more than I can do out there in the world. He can literally he can draw. I've seen him draw like amazing Picasso-looking things. You're like, dang, what is that? I didn't know you could do that. He's like, yeah, I could do it. And then,
that was my college roommate, man.
Yeah, and so, and then to get on a piano and he taught himself how to play piano. I could not. I took piano class in high school, and I could barely get.
I took music.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then now, I mean, he can learn. He played the drums. He's taught himself how to do so much.
So much, man.
Individual on his own, rather than having I feel like me, I've had a coach to show me how to do this, teach me a lot of structure. Yeah. It's just been all like, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go do it.
Yeah, we go. And don't forget your sister.
Danielle, for sure.
I know she's
danced.
Talented.
Oh yeah, super talented, dude. She's that's my best friend, man. We grew up super close together. She danced at Mississippi Gulf Coast. Graduated from D'Iberville, danced Mississippi Gulf Coast, and then went and finished her teaching degree. And now she actually was a dance coach at D'Iberville, back at alma mater. Yeah. And then she married my brother-in-law, Josh Trussell, and he's a coach over there in East Central. So they moved to Hurley, bought a house, and man, she's doing amazing things over there. When she first got there, this might be wrong, but I know she didn't have no more than 6 or 7 dancers on that dance team. It was very dwindling down. It wasn't a big thing.
Yeah, the program wasn't it.
And I remember talking to her on the phone, and she was like, dang, coming from a school that dance was a big thing, pep rallies, just culture-wise over here, and going to that small town where she said it was more like cheerleaders. Everyone want to be cheerleaders. But man, she's been there, I think, 3 years, and she's turned it around. This past year, she graduated 2 girls that actually went to Gulf Coast and now are at Gulf Coast dancing. And and she's had the most kids try out for dance there that they've had in forever this past year. Yeah, so she's very excited about that.
Well, good on Hurley, man. Yeah, shout out to the East Central Hornets.
Yeah.
See? You didn't expect that. Man, we're versatile. All right, so now with that, and that goes and show how much, how tight-knit y'all are family. Everybody says family. That's kind of like a buzzword. But not all families are the same. You know what I'm saying? It's like your family, you don't get to choose them.
Nope.
And a lot of times you be like, damn, I'm stuck with him.
Yeah.
But with y'all always had that connectivity where it was just y'all was always cool. He was Brian, no matter what, how far, what we did, this and that, he always made sure he mentioned Mike. He always made sure he mentioned Mike. And even then, even with Christine, even though I don't have the relationship with Christine like I had with you and Brian, it's still it's no drop off on love and bond with one another. Due to years, even though you and Danielle is closer, it's still like a parent. Nah, they was in the same household, and it wasn't a lot of separation. You know what I'm saying? Because again, y'all someone that didn't come from money, and so all y'all had was each other a lot of times. So and that kind of bleeds into the athlete is one thing, but the person is another, which is why we always say good people helping good people.
For sure.
So that's gonna lead me to the next question, and I want to talk about your athletic journey And to combat that, reclaiming that identity of a person whenever you're given the athletic identity. You know, your brother at an early age had it taken away, and that made him learn to do these other things and find out these other things, like learning to draw from an incredible way. I'm hearing him, listening to him on the piano and a guitar and drums, and now he knows how to do it and has these low key like shows that he perform at, when I'm like, bruh, I don't think that was originally your programming, you know?
Yeah.
But that athletic identity was taken away from him, and he was able to reclaim it and do something else. So now and we're going to call a spade here. We'll keep it a buck. Your athletic identity, your identity as an athlete has slowly been taken away from a standpoint, you know, as a college athlete. Now you're in a different stage of life where you transition. And how do you feel about reclaiming your identity as a person? You know, how do you feel about going about that in today's world?
100%. So I'd say this, you got to hang them up at some point. Everyone gets told they're not going to play anymore. And transitioning into real life can be hard for some people, a lot of people, honestly. So yeah, man, coming back home, like I said, I think it's been really helpful for me to come home and be surrounded by family, meeting good people, reconnecting with good people.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, getting back, and I talk to my buddies about this all the time. It's like, man, you're around that locker room all the time. You're around your boys all the time, teammates, and you're just not even really thinking about outside world stuff, because you're just so into that world. And once you get, like I said, some people get taken away, middle school, high school, college, even sometimes in the pros. It's all going to end one day.
Yeah.
And when it ends, it's ended. You know, they strip you from it. Yeah, it's just like that. And
it's
then
abrupt, bro.
You kind of go from not being somebody, but just you. Some people know you, some people don't know you, and then now you're just got to go figure it out. You know. And so coming back home and, like I said, connecting with people, it's important to find your identity. I was an athlete. That's what I did, but that's not all I am. You know. You got to find out what other things are. And that kind of goes in. I was talking to my sister about this, Danielle, one day. It's like just deleting all social media, because you don't know how much time you spend on it for like a month, you know?
Yeah.
And just, you'll discover things. You'll have so much time. You're not scrolling on TikTok or Instagram. You'll find so much time that you didn't realize you had before. You'll develop new talents, or you don't even know. I mean, some people don't know if they can draw, you know? Some people don't know if they can play the piano.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, I think, coming back home in that process, just trying to figure out what you want in life when you're reclaiming your identity. What do you like? Some people might like gardening. You never know. You know, some people really love reading books. You know, there's all kinds of different things.
All kinds of things, but you don't know until you know.
But you don't know.
So on that journey of rediscovering you, and we so happen to have someone to work for someone that has done that in a great way, that being Dr. Robbie Ellis, because again, like I met him through him being an unhinged linebacker.
Right.
Like that was my introduction to him. It's people that work that don't even know
he played football.
Right. And we've seen people that has phenomenal talent that's failed and struggled with that, you know. Maybe people that you graduated with. I know for damn sure people that I've graduated with that still grasping on, you know. And it's okay to, like, you still want to be functional. You still want to move and train and do what you got to do, but you still have to take care of business and like find like this is other part of me too, than what I do. So on that journey, this is the question I asked: who's been the most impactful for you? Is that mom or is that dad?
Not just mom and dad, but I feel like, and it's kind of going back to what we piggybacking off what we said earlier.
Yeah, all
my family, brothers, sisters, mom and dad. I mean, because I'll go talk to dad. We'll talk about it at dinner. And I call my brother. And so for the people watching, I'm the only one that just moved back home. All my brothers and sisters married, moved out the house, got their own place, which is kind of nice, because you kind of look at it as 4 different therapists, honestly, because they've been through similar things that I've been through in the same household, but they all have their own perspective on it and outlook on it.
That's beautiful, dude.
Yeah, so I really like, I go to Brian's house all the time. He'll put the girls to bed, go over there, and just ask questions. And, you know, he's always, and because, like I said, putting that brother's up there with dad, that big brother, and I've always looked up to him. Yeah. And I'll call him stressed out sometimes, like, oh, man, what am I gonna do? And he's like, dude, calm down. He's like, you're good. He's like, you're good. Man. He's like, you got family. He's like, and you got a little bit of money in the bank. He's like, you're gonna be all right.
You're gonna be all right. You're
gonna be all right.
Yes, indeed. And now we're gonna pivot again. So with you being an athlete, you've been on a different scale of athlete. Because I want to say like Kaz being Brian after 8th grade. It was it.
Yeah, I just stopped playing football, just play baseball.
Your dad was more of a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're dual athlete, baseball and football. And football is king, especially around here.
Down here, for sure.
Your notoriety was more so at the quarterback spot, right? Mm-hmm. So how did that feel from being the low man on a totem pole, baby brother, to being a starting quarterback at a successful program? How was that?
It happens really quick, honestly. Like I said, 9th grade year, you go through it, and then I got moved up, and I kind of got to see the blueprint ahead of me with the athletes that were there first, and then following my sophomore year, kind of just got thrown into it. And luckily we had a good supporting cast that year.
Man, did y'all?
We were kind of stacked. And so that helped out a lot. But, man, just, again, leaning on that family aspect. It's like if I needed anything or – but don't they definitely would if I got too high, they'd bring me down a couple notches for sure.
Yeah.
Especially Danielle and Brian, they'd be like, we still know who you are. What are you doing? So
like, chill, Mike.
Yeah. So
Mike check.
Yeah, Mike check for sure.
Dang it, man. All right. That was great. So as far now, high school quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
What the level that propelled you to the next point was baseball, right? So most of your D1 college experience was through baseball. So what style of coaching or training was the most impactful in regards to like what allowed you to transition, from football to baseball and do it at a successful rate?
Right. Level of training, I would say. Yeah. So in high school, it was really hard because I wanted to be a certain weight playing baseball and I wanted to be a certain weight playing football. Mm-hmm. 2 different weights. And it was really like making sure your mobility was good in both. I was a catcher in football. I'm a catcher in baseball, quarterback football. Make sure my hips were really loose. Make sure really mobility, but while still maintaining the strength for football, but wanting to be more looser and more agile for baseball.
Yeah.
And then going into college, man, I've had a lot of surgeries, even starting 8th grade.
How many?
Let's see. All together to this day, I've had 5 or 6. I know I've had 4 knee surgeries. And then this past year, my senior year at William Carey, shout out Crusaders, but that's where I ended up finishing up. I broke my wrist. Yeah. But yeah, even in 8th grade, I'll never forget, I tore my ACL, LCM, MCL, PCL, and dislocated my kneecap. And so that was a long recovery back. And then, dude, after that, it was like clockwork. Like every other year, I'd have a knee surgery. Some of them were scopes. Some of them were burst access busting. Yeah. Some were meniscus. They were going there, clean it up.
And how old are you?
I am 24. Yeah.
And you had
6.
Man, you sound...
Yeah, it's gonna be. My dad's always like, man, my dad's like, I feel bad for you when you're 40. He's like,
boy,
yeah, but
Don Joy, boy,
yeah,
bro.
The knees have had a lot of damage on them, and so that was a huge thing for me is going back and forth from sports, football, baseball, and there were some times in high school it's like I would get hurt at football, but it would just be like I just need a scope, like my meniscus is a little torn up or my MCL is torn, but you can go to PT and kind of strengthen it because I wasn't gonna miss my baseball season. So I would wait until after baseball season, and I was a catcher, but I had to play first sometimes, and then get the surgery in the summer.
Okay.
And actually, when I signed my first, it's crazy, my first college scholarship at TCS in Dallas, Texas, my brother, we rode in the car 12 hours, went up there, and my brother was with me, and my dad, when we went to the tour, went to the visit, I don't think my dad was, my brother went with me. We left at like 5 a.m. from my cousin's house that stays up in Texas. And I was actually on crutches because my knee, I just had another knee surgery. Yeah. And I still gave the visit, and I didn't know how that was going to go because of, and the reason I found out about that place is a scout, I forget his name, I have his name on my phone, I need to probably reach back out and just see how he's doing. But he saw me play, and he was a scout for the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
And he came up to me and my dad after a game and was like, "Hey, man, I think you need to go check this school out. I think it'd be good for you." And so kudos to him.
Yeah.
It's a stepping stone in my life that I'll forever be grateful for.
So with that, that even just tells to like the level of talent that you have. Or like someone invests in damaged goods almost. You pull up to like a signing or even on a scouting recruiting trip on crutches.
Yeah,
Like, man, oh no.
Yeah, I didn't know either, and I think it was God's plan because I mean they really they needed a catcher, and I was a catcher.
He was a catcher,
and we literally like one of the things they were like, let's just see. We sat on a bucket. I remember having my brother in my crutches, and let's see frame a couple baseballs, and I did it, and obviously I couldn't swing, but they liked what they saw, and they seen some footage of me playing because obviously in Texas, it's a far way away. And yeah, man, I was blessed enough where they took a chance and let me come in.
Yeah.
And it was a post-grad academy, so that was really cool because that's, I know I've talked to you before, that's where we got to train at the Michael Johnson Sports Performance Center.
That was going to lead into the next one, yeah.
And, man, that was awesome. Not just the facilities there, but the people, man. I got to train with Jarrett Judy.
Yeah.
It was Amik Robinson, shout out, speedy recovery. I know he just got injured in the playoff game.
Yeah.
But, man, it was the people there were really cool. It was really cool at a young age to see how professional athletes got to train and carry themselves, especially with that caliber of athletes.
Mm-hmm. So with that perspective, that unique perspective, how would you, because that's one thing with us as far as like me, others that engage into this world, it start that connectivity in regards to being close to the locker room, it start to fade away due to time, you know? So you don't really have a firm grasp on what's what, on how you feel or whatnot. You being someone that's not that far removed, if any, removed from that locker room, how would your style of coaching or training help out the youth or whatnot? If you were talking to a young athlete and you're like, hey, you know, this and this and this, how would you go about that?
Right. I give hitting lessons to a lot of younger athletes. And so when I tell them, when I get them, and I love the players coach approach. Yeah. And I try to be there for them outside of the sport as well. Because me and you were talking about earlier, when you can find a coach, not even a coach, just a mentor, somebody that they believe in you and you believe in them, and what y'all are doing is the right thing.
Yes, sir.
And they can run through a wall for you.
Yeah.
That's when you start cooking, you know. And so I tell my kids also, I know baseball's already hard enough in that aspect. So you're trying to hit a round ball to round bat, right? So no negativity at all. Like if you miss one, cool. You can get mad in the moment, but you got to have some kind of technique, whether that's breathing, looking at the top of the bat, something to lock you back in. Because if you out of it, then that pitcher, you're out of it for the whole at bat. Yeah. And so it's all about, you just need one good swing, really, you know, out of the whole at bat. And so I tell them no negativity, positivity all the time. All the time. Don't get down on yourself. It's a round bat, trying to hit a round ball, coming pretty quick at you.
Bro, pretty complex situation, bro.
For sure.
There we go. And again, my last thing I want to get with, and we're not going to, again, we don't want to spend too much time. What I want to end with is that do you emphasize a better athlete or a better person?
I think you got to start with the person, because I feel like better people, that's what we're here to do, is make everybody around us better. And if you can start with the person and you have a good foundation there, everything else will fall into place, I believe. And you just keep going, and better people help better people become better people. And so you just keep going and start with the person first. And I feel like from then, once we have that, everything else fall into place.
My man. I appreciate you, brother.
For sure.
That's good stuff. All right. Sure. You heard it here first, man. And this has been the Savage Mountain Podcast.